everyone. Well, we are here today with Jessi Harris, who is the Creative Communications Director, who's going to help us launch a Giving Tuesday series that we're going to be now showcasing on Jetset Times. Giving Tuesday is a series that I've been doing every single week on my personal Instagram platform, just as something that I feel is very close to my heart, that I can show some love on a weekly basis to crisis or organizations around the world. It's a great reminder that we really need to think outside of ourselves and think that there's so many people suffering in different parts of the globe. And when I featured CORE just out of research this week, Jessi very graciously reached out and we decided that this would be a great, kickoff of a collab. And so today we're going to spend some time to find out a little bit more about what CORE does, what Haiti is like at the moment, and kind of go from there. So Jessi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. This is really exciting. So I'm so excited to be here and share about all the things. And it's been so good to get to know you. And this is going to be great.
Me too. Let's talk a little bit about what Haiti is like right now, especially after the assassination of the president, the earthquake, the devastating earthquake, and on top of it, COVID. Can you kind of paint a picture for us of what the country is going through? How bad is it over there right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Haiti is, if y'all don't know, Haiti is down below Florida, connected to the Dominican Republic. And Haiti has been for a very long time the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. It's always been a very impoverished country. People are making less than $1 a day. It's always been pretty bad. But in the past couple of years, Haiti has faced its hardest time ever. It's very dangerous. They're right now not safe for travel. In fact, they've been like at a level 4 for a very, very long time. But yeah, in Haiti, even before COVID hit, there were a lot of protests happening. We haven't been traveling to Haiti in almost 2 years because it's just very dangerous. Lots of kidnappings. There's a lot of just extreme poverty. I mean, if you can imagine in a small country where sanitation is not even hardly an option. I mean, people have a hard time getting their hands on soap, let alone a mask. So when the protests happened and all of that dangerous stuff was happening and then COVID hit, there was a massive job shortage because there were rules and regulations to follow. If you've never been or seen anything about Haiti, they go to the market and it's like shoulder to shoulder, very crowded, very dirty. The people are incredible people, but it was very hard for them to get their hands on anything sanitary as far as with COVID. So when COVID hit, that happened. And then the assassination of the president just really, it really hit Haiti hard. There was a lot of, it's very controversial about the assassination of like what happened and how it happened and why it happened. Because Haitian people are very oppressed by their government, but there is a lot of hard times right now. It is very, like I was telling you earlier, it's very unsafe to travel there right now. So really the focus is on the people that are actually there on the ground. I don't mean Americans. I mean people doing the work in Haiti, Haitians doing the work. So
Haitians
lots of job loss. Yeah, lots of job loss, lots of darkness right now for them. And then the earthquake on top of that, which, by the way, the earthquake, if you don't know, there was an earthquake in 2010.
Right.
And so I have been in Haiti when an earthquake has happened. They're not uncommon for earthquakes to happen. And when I was there, I was sitting in a hotel lobby with one of the translators, and the building started to shake. First earthquake I'd ever been in. It's very mild. But the people rushed out screaming because they're afraid because of everything that happened in 2010. They're just very mentally and emotionally unstable from that. So yeah, very, very tough for them. Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about the background of how CORE started?
Absolutely. So CORE came into existence. Dr. Dennis Bratton is the man that started our organization. And it came into existence after the first earthquake. So, the 2010 earthquake,
right.
With that same desire, like, how do we help? How do we really do this? How do we stop doing handouts and start actually empowering people to make a change for themselves. And he's an awesome man, super smart. And he started this organization with the vision to provide sustainable solutions to extreme poverty instead of just handouts. And we kind of label it as business as ministry. We are a faith-based organization, but we do work well with other organizations that are not, which is exciting because it's teaching a business model with faith at the center. And that has really changed a lot. So we do a lot of things. We empower. Our major things that we do is we empower farmers, and we give people jobs. And I'm sure we'll go into this later, but a lot of our farmers are single moms, which is super encouraging. And we kind of changed the pattern of Haiti in that way. So we empower farmers and we feed kids. We feed kids an egg a day through our program called Hatching Hope in schools. And those eggs are purchased from our farmers. So our logo is kind of like a circle with arrows. And that's what we do. It's sustainability. And then the third thing we do is we share the gospel. So, but we do that through relationship, not through forcing anything on anyone. Or we also do not require you to have a specific, way of viewing before helping, which is awesome. So we have those three things. So we empower farmers, we feed kids, and we share hope.
And so sustainability is like a big effort that is part of the Core's mission, right? When we were in contact, you said, oh my gosh, like our vision's really aligned because Jetset is so much about eco and ethical travel as well. So can you talk a little bit about how the sustainability aspect come into play?
Yeah. In Haiti specifically, there was a huge movement of help that has always come to the country, starting with the rice being imported. Back in the history of Haiti, Haiti was an enslaved country for a very long time. They broke the mold of slavery, revolted against that, and they started owning their own country. And then things kind of went south, and then there was an import of rice, and that has caused a lot of imports have been happening. A lot of things have been purchased from the US or other countries and shipped in to Haiti, really taking away their ability to be an entrepreneur, to enterprise. And we are super passionate about the concept of teach a man a fish, don't just give a man a fish. And that has been that saying. And that is what we do. So we empower farmers. So we go into different communities. Right now, we're located in the central plateau of Haiti. So kind of, it's like if you go to Port-au-Prince and you go up the mountain, and we're kind of in the flat spot up in the middle. And what we do is we find people who are pretty destitute, that don't really have an option. I am going to send you a video of a woman named Katia, who is a female that we found. Her husband had left her. She has four beautiful daughters. She was pregnant. And she was left not only with her children, but also with her in-laws and her parents on her property, and no money, and to the point where she had to go send her children out to beg for food so that she could tend to the small garden that she tried to have. And when I say our team, I don't mean like people from the US coming over. We have a very large staff in Haiti. They're very passionate of Haitians. They're very passionate about their own people. In fact, our staff is very small here in the US, maybe 4 people. And so they found her and they said, we want to empower you with a chicken coop. And we helped her build a hen house, and she raises eggs now. And within 6 months, she receives a paycheck for that. So she raises the eggs, and then they're bought back by our foundation, and they are given to children in schools for an egg a day. And that gives them and I know we're going to talk about projects in a minute, but that gives them the ability to have brain function and brain health and eat. And I can talk about that. But that kind of shows, so she was able to not only just have money, but she was able to send her children back to school. Right. And her children didn't have to go door to door to beg for food anymore. And she says in this video, I want to have this job forever. And it just shows that they don't want a handout. They want to have a skill and a gift and the ability to be able to make an impact in their world, because their world is our world. same place and we all exist in one world, and they want to give back as well. And so she's able to do that. So that's been really neat. So that's kind of sustainability of what we do. But sustainability is the key to change Haiti, because especially it shows it now with, not a lot of NGOs being there anymore when tragedy hits.
Yeah. How does that work? I mean, are the NGOs that aren't there anymore, I mean, does it mean that they were kicked out, or they just physically can't live there because the resources are so limited? I mean, how does that even work?
Yeah, so a lot of NGOs, a lot of the leaving of NGOs kind of started happening. It's a lot of the NGOs that come in that don't have Haitians like working for them, that are kind of coming in from the outside. It started happening during the protests, like way before COVID, and then travel restrictions hit, and people weren't able to travel to Haiti because of COVID. And then now with the restriction level being at level 4, there's just no traveling. So any organization that didn't have Haitian roots there and a staff there is either gone, or they're really just sending funds over, which is all that they can really do at this point. So yeah, it's been kind of crazy to see like who's stayed and who's left, but it's also exciting because Haitians they're coming together. And they're working together and they're uniting. In fact, I'll talk about this in a minute. We have an alliance of different organizations, NGOs that we're working with. And, some specialize in peanut butter and some specialize in medical supplies, and we specialize in eggs, and we're coming together and providing relief. But it's, when I say we, I mean Haitian people, like together. It's not, there's not a lot of outsiders there right now. So it's really powerful.
The one that caught my eye and gave, my attention and love to was this, the meal aspect, bringing more protein into the meals of people, because malnutrition is also a huge problem and issue there, right?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I'll go into that a little bit. That's where we focus on children, because in Haiti, the main diet for, like I said, a Haitian person makes about less than $1 a day. So then they have to be able to provide for their families. And any type of protein is very difficult to get their hands on. And the currency rate in Haiti has like skyrocketed. So people's ability to purchase a chicken is like, maybe for a special occasion, if they can get their hands on it. It's so expensive for them. So the diet is mostly rice and beans. And that just does not provide enough protein. And it's not good rice. It's not your Whole Foods, high quality rice. It is. And same with beans. It's imported things that there's just not a lot of nutrition. So that's why we chose to move to a model of raising hens that lay eggs, because the protein found in an egg is so powerful, especially for a child. And they're very easy. They hard boil them at the schools, and they're actually decently easy to travel with. We're in those cartons, and we travel them to schools, and then they boil them, and then they get an egg a day, which in Haiti, a child, almost every school, not all, but a lot of schools are private. So they have to pay to go to school. So they have to pay for a uniform, they have to pay tuition, they have to pay the teachers. So just the concept of a free meal is not a thing there, like we have in the States, or maybe you have overseas, but they have to eat. And a lot of children, when I've been over there, they're falling asleep by 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. They've been up since the crack of dawn doing chores at the house. And then they go to school, and there's just nothing in their brain to keep functioning. And if you can get the child fed, they can stay awake longer and they can learn more. And then they'll come to school. Attendance levels in our schools that we partner with the education organization that we are in alignment with, their numbers skyrocket for attendance because children are able to eat. And they know that when they get there, they're going to have a meal. Even if it's just a hard-boiled egg, they get something in their belly. So it's really important. Yeah.
Speaking of children, I love this idea, or what we were just talking about, the idea of empowering women. I mean, I truly believe that when women prosper and flourish, we give back to our communities or give back to
100%.
other communities. How has that been sort of like a testament to what you guys have been doing over there?
Yeah, when we started working with farmers, well, even before I joined the team, it was almost, I don't want to say like a surprise, but it was almost like shocking to see that the people that we actually empower, we were drawn to empower, were women. And you think farmer, your brain may not go there immediately, but these women are left. They're, if they get into a tight financial spot, it's very common for them to be left by their husbands or their partners to, they go off into the city to try to find a job and they may never come back. Culturally, it's much different in Haiti as far as like how they, marriage and commitment and all that is much different. So these women are often left with nothing, and education for women is not a very strong. Education in general is difficult in Haiti, but even for a woman, it's even harder. So when we started asking our staff in Haiti, like who can we empower, it was often a single mom and often a woman. In fact, we have a Mother's Day campaign that we like to run called Twice as Strong, where we empower mom farmers on Mother's Day. It's pretty neat. And but these women are the hardest workers, and they are passionate to give back. So we find them like we have multiple communities that we work with, and they'll have this chicken coop. And then when a Haitian has a job, and especially a paycheck, which is usually a woman's role in Haiti, is to be in the home, or they sell whatever goods they have in the market amongst thousands of other people. But when a woman is empowered with a business like this, she is not only raised up in her own home, but she's raised up in her community, and she becomes a beacon of hope for the rest of the community. And she is able to give back inside of her community. So we have moms that host, like women that help host, like come alongside their pastors and host Bible studies. We have, and in fact, in light of the earthquake, a lot of our farmers came together. I have some pictures I'll send you, but they brought the load of their eggs. They said, our people are hurting, let's do this. And they brought their eggs to our offices, and they boiled all of their eggs and sent them to earthquake victims in Lakai. And because the earthquake did not hit exactly at our where our offices are, so they were able to help and drive them 4, 5, 6 hours to Lakai and serve the people during the earthquake. So it's just women, they go after it, especially Haitian women. You don't want to mess with a Haitian woman.
You don't want to mess with any woman, but you definitely don't want to mess with a Haitian woman. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Out of all these different efforts that CORE does, what is the best way for people to help?
Absolutely. For us, the best way, the first of all, is to follow us and follow our story, and help tell our story. So any sharing that you can do, we have a Facebook and we have an Instagram, and it's just CORE Foundation with a KORE. I'm sure we'll tag it, but to follow us and see what we're doing, because it's powerful. It really is. And it's powerful to see the movement that's going on. But as far as actively giving, we have 2 different ways right now that we are really asking for help, and asking for help to give hope. And that's, and since we can't travel, the best way to do it is online. And we have a great Facebook fundraiser going on right now. We also have an online platform where you can give one time or monthly to our Hatching Hope campaign. That's the campaign that I was talking about, that covers all of the egg a day for children. So when you get onto our website, you can see it as soon as it pops up, an amount you can give, or you can become a monthly giver. I did want to say that one egg costs 15 cents. So for 15 cents, you can feed one child 1 egg in 1 day. So you can do the math on that as far as how many days you want to feed children, or how many children you want to feed. It is just not a lot of money. So $5 a month, $10 a month, $100 a month is an awesome way to just constantly continue to give that kid an egg a day. Yeah. And it's just easy. And the other way is right now, in our relief process, we go beyond relief usually in sustainability. But when an earthquake happens, sometimes you have to go back into relief mode. And so one thing we are doing in the relief for the earthquake is we are purchasing tarps in country. We are not shipping them in; they're bought in country, and those are $29 a tarp. So if you can give to that on our Facebook, or we have a Venmo as well. If you'd like to do that, and all that will be tagged. But yeah, those are the two best ways that a person can help right now.
Yeah, the tarp thing I saw today.
Yeah.
It was posted on IG yesterday, right? Or I saw it pop up this morning. And it's incredible to think that we really take it for granted how easy that we can access eggs.
Yeah.
And for them, it's 15 cents. It does wonders for one child a day. And that's why I think it's so important to kind of hear these narratives and these stories, because we really get to step outside of ourselves, right? And
absolutely.
Can we get to know you a little bit, and how did you get involved with CORE?
Yeah. Oh, it's been a crazy ride. So I went on my first trip to Haiti when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And my grandmother, she took me for the first time, and she took me to a little town called Grenouille. Beautiful. Gosh, looks like paradise, tropical paradise, because it's Haiti, it's right by the Dominican. So, and I can remember my heart for giving back, what you were talking about, especially as a woman, changed forever. I knew from 12 years old that I wanted to do this. I wasn't sure if it, I wasn't sure if it was Haiti. I wasn't sure if it was somewhere else, but I didn't even know what to call it. The concept, the trip I did go on when I was younger, I went on a few when I was younger, had a little gap, and then went on a lot more. There was a lot of giving, handing out of like Christmas presents and stuff like that. And always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I wasn't really sure why we were there handing out. For example, when I was younger, when we went, we were handing out, people were donating coats, like puffy coats, to the people of Haiti. And they're never going to use a puffy coat. It never gets below 85 degrees in Haiti. And it was like really confusing to me why we were doing that. And it shifted the way I started to think even as a young girl. And I went on to school, and I learned teaching English as a second language, because I thought, if I'm going to go and I have opportunity here in where I live to be able to bring something that can help change, that's what I want to do. I don't want to just go and think that my just existing there is going to help anybody. Like, it does bring hope, but it doesn't really change a lot. So I went to college, and I studied teaching English as a second language. And I got connected to multiple different organizations through the years, and traveling back to Haiti and experiencing the stark difference between poverty tourism and sustainability. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten connected to different organizations over the times that have done both. And then I found CORE, and I got connected to CORE and was able to travel with them. And I saw this in action. I got to meet the farmers and experience what it is like to walk alongside of a woman, or any farmer, and see their lives change. And it was like, I was like, I'm sold. I'm done. This is what I want to do, because I want to help teach people here about worldview and about poverty, and about why poverty is mental and spiritual. It is not just material. And to be honest, I think here in America, we're very poor mentally, because we often now materially, we're not poor, but we box ourselves in. Right. We can't see the world. And that's why I love what you're doing in your brand and in your movement and your magazine. Is it's like you're helping people wake up and see what's out there without necessarily being able to travel, especially right now in this time that we're in. It's so important, because when your eyes can open to the world and your worldview can expand, you can see so much more and connect in a way. Like when I'm sitting next to a farmer, Katia, who's my age, and we are the same age doing the same thing in an entrepreneurial spirit, and you get to walk with her and see her life change and then her change the legacy of her whole family, you're like, yep, this is it. So yeah, in the long run, that's how I got connected to CORE. And I get to do their storytelling and tell their story to the world. And it's so wonderful.
That's something that I always say is that America, and we talked about this before, recording, is that I feel like, I mean, I know that America is one of the most powerful countries in the world. We are one of the biggest countries in the world, yet we don't see the world. And so much of it is because it's ingrained in our institution, and systematically we have 2 weeks off a year. And if those don't count holidays, then people are really permitted to go outside of the country. And on top of it,
so true.
Traveling is always very much associated with luxury, and it requires so much money. And I think what at least we can try to do is to bring other cultures into people's minds, and also not just the fun stuff about traveling, but the reality of what those places are like. How do you think as an individual that you've changed through sort of experiences that you've had in Haiti?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say my biggest change of heart is that the being able to really grasp a worldview, being able to travel or even just read stories of travel, opening my mind to that side of the world and what's happening in places like what's going on in Afghanistan, being able to not just read one narrative, but all of them and understand it. Like, it has helped me be able to have a lot of peace about where I am and what I'm doing. And it's not guilt ridden. It gives me purpose.
Right.
Because it makes me feel like everything that I am going through or everything that I am struggling with or dealing with, there is such a bigger story and there's such a bigger thing happening, and I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Cartier is going, her husband left her things are going on, like she's going through this. We're the same. Our circumstances are different, but we are all humans and we can all do this together. And I think for me, and that's hope. Right. And that hope exists. And that's what we stand for at CORE, is hope. And we can absolutely get there and experience that hope when we see something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
And that the core roots of the problems usually lie in the same things. Right. Knowing your purpose and who you are and why you're created and why you exist, and how to do it. So
right.
I think that answers your question.
No, absolutely. And I think that a lot of people listening to this can absolutely have that as messaging as like a takeaway. In terms of right now, when there are so many crises happening in the world, and we've got what's happening in Afghanistan, what's happening in Lebanon within their own sort of like economic breakdown, and then Haiti. So when there these times like this, there are multiple crises happening and people want to help, and suddenly they're like, well, hold on, there's like a lot going on. Where do I go? Yes. And is there ever like almost a sort of fear of like, oh my gosh, like no one's now seeing what's happening in Haiti, like we gotta keep addressing this and all of that? I mean, is there kind of that happening as well?
Yeah, I mean, especially here in America, news travels, it goes fast. People get bored very, very quickly.
Right.
As far as where they can give and what they can do and how they can impact, because we're a generation of people that I guess it's the quick news that we get. We move on so fast, and we forget that people are struggling and people are suffering, and that we have the ability and the capability that literally just $15 can change someone's life, can change a child's life. So I think we get overwhelmed. I think we have so much information coming in that we are overwhelmed with so much that we forget. So I would say that's why following us is such a good thing, because I know personally with my job, I am passionate about telling the positive story, the story of change and the story of good. I don't like to project the guilt. I don't like to be guilt forward. I don't like that, because our stories of change are what are so powerful. Stories of good that's happening. And that's what has been awesome in light of the earthquake, this horrible thing that's happened. We're seeing so much good, like those farmers coming together and selling their own eggs to their own people. It gives me goosebumps, because it's like, would we do that? I don't know that we would do that, and that's their livelihood. That's their meal on the table. And they're quite literally giving it away to people that need it more than they do. And so to be able to follow us and to read our stories and see the good that's happening, I think it will spark and inspire people to actually want to be a part of something bigger, not just give and then walk away. And that's what I would encourage people to do, regardless of where they're passionate about, is really just sit and think about it for a while. It's hard to think about it. But think about it. And if you're led to a certain, just like you did, when you saw our story, you were drawn and led to reach out. And if that's Afghanistan, if that's Lebanon, if that's here in the US, if that's overseas, like just follow that and let, be guided to where you can make a difference. And when you pour in, don't stop. Just go deep and talk about it and share about it. Like when you shared our story, I was so encouraged, because it was like, you had so much bravery. It takes a lot of bravery.
I don't even know. No, I honestly don't know if I make any impact, but it is just, I feel like it's as responsibility as just as a human being to kind of to do something,
Absolutely.
And especially during these times, because what I used to do in the past too is just I'll go and volunteer and, either at a food shelter or at a ER in a hospital. And during these COVID times, we can't move. Like we're so confined in our spaces that the only thing that I really can do is to donate and give.
Use your tool.
I honestly don't even think that that's enough, but it's like the most that I can do and post about it. And like, I hope, I'm glad that it got us together, just us two, like travelers, and like talking and bonding and connecting. So that made me happy. But, there's a bigger purpose that comes out of bigger story that we can tell that's even more beautiful. And so I want to make sure people hear again from you, where then can they follow CORE, and what are the handles that they need to keep an eye out for?
We are just CORE Foundation, at CORE Foundation. So KORE Foundation. So that's on Instagram and on Facebook. You can follow us. We also have a Venmo. Our fundraiser for specific earthquake relief is on our Facebook page. And then we also have CORE, CoreFoundation.org, where you can give to that Egg a Day campaign, and you can become a monthly giver and help a little nugget over there. Eat a little hard-boiled egg a day.
But thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate your time. And I hope that you get to go back to Haiti soon, and that I also get to go along with you.
Would love to have you.
We'll do like a vlog series or something. I would love that.
That'd be so much fun. Yeah, that'd be a blast. The farmers would just love you. They would love you so much. They'd be touching your hair like crazy. Like, what?
I can speak French there. That'd be nice.
You can speak. Oh, well, just come with me. You can sit and have conversations that I can't have for a long time.
But thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it too. It's to have our voice go further is such a blessing. So we're so thankful.